Okay, right. Operation Mincemeat is a film. It's based on true events. This is set in 1943, and where basically the Allies are looking to start a second front by basically taking the war back to Europe. And the most obvious place to launch this a new assault is from Sicily. An earlier raid on Dieppe had been a disaster. It'd been poorly planned, poorly executed, and then it was costly, and so they don't want to make the same mistakes again. So they know that Sicily's going to, and the Germans will believe that Sicily is the most obvious place. So they start this counterintelligence battle basically to deflect attention away from Sicily and say we are going to launch an invasion on Greece, but it's trying to get the Germans to believe it. And normally all the other things they do, like fake maneuvering, sort of everything else, nothing seems to work. The Germans are still focused on defending Sicily. And so they come up with this harebrained scheme, one of 27, by a writer that we may have heard of called Ian Fleming, who was working in intelligence in the 1940s. And he came up with a thing called Operation Trout, which was basically how to sort of hook the Germans into
Oh
believing
yeah.
these things. And there was something like 30 different scenarios. And one of the most bizarre ones was basically having fake documents on a body, and the body washes up on the shore of a neutral country, Spain, and then these documents get into the hands of the German intelligence services, and then they basically believe them. So they're like baiting the hook by saying this is all there. And so they then the film is about how they go about making this his Major Martin, his they call him Major William Martin, and how to make him believable as a real intelligence. So they create a persona around him. They find a suitable body, and they find someone who's living who looks enough like the body so they can take some pictures of him.
Hmm.
They create a life around him. They write letters. They give him a history, a service history. They basically make him as real as they could possibly be. And then the three sort of main protagonists in this are Colin Firth's character, who's Ewan Montague, who is a solicitor and barrister who now works for intelligence. There is Major Chomley, who's uh, again a naval, played by Matthew MacFadyen, who is a Air Force intelligence officer who's got like this very clinical, insightful mind. And then they draw in all these disparate characters who basically are working with them to and Johnny Flynn plays Ian Fleming, and so they pad out how to make this man as convincing as possible. And
Yeah.
so this film is about building the story and then launching the operation and then to see how effective it was. If you think this sounds familiar, obviously it's a true story, but there was a book written in 1950 by a guy called Duff Cooper, who wrote a book called Operation Heartbreak, based on this event. And then there's a film in 1956 called The Man Who Never Was, based on the same events. So it is out there in in our sort of cultural history as well as being in sort of the Second World War
Yeah.
history.
Oh,
So it was
okay.
interesting to see a trio of Jane Austen heroes. We had two Mr. Darcys and we had a Mr. Knightley on screen together. So
Oh,
I didn't work that out till afterwards when someone was saying, "Oh, two Mr. Darcys." I was like, two Mr. Darcys and a Mr. Knightley.
I've heard people say that, and that's something that would totally have passed me by. But
When I was watching it, I didn't register it because I hated that Matthew McFadden's version of Pride and Prejudice. So I've wiped that from my memory.
yeah, but then is but it makes me really really happy that you picked it up because I was thinking, yeah, Sharon might have picked this up, but
yeah.
I'm really happy that you did.
I've never watched his version of Pride and Prejudice, or I don't think I have because I couldn't bear the idea.
I've watched the one with zombies.
Yeah, I like that.
That's fun. We went
Yeah,
to see it on my birthday, didn't we? That was my
we went to
birthday.
see that on your birthday. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
We went to see that on your birthday.
So yeah, I
Oh,
really rated it. I thought it was good, well executed. There's some great cast in there. There was like Jason Isaacs was playing the head of intelligence, who they call M. they There were nods to James Bond, which was quite fun. Kelly MacDonald was in it as a sort of, she was working in that the pool of the female staff who worked around sort of MI5 at that time. There's a there isn't a romance, but there's a hint of romantic um, suppressed feelings on different sort of undercutting the film.
yeah.
Russell Somerville plays Churchill. There's a good cast. There's lots of people, and Penelope Wilton is in there. Mark Gaddis is in there. Yeah, there's lots of people. You go, good, strong cast. So, but then, so yeah, good, strong cast, strong film, well executed, well delivered. Yeah, you feel for it. You sort of, even though you know how it ends, you still feel slightly tense, thinking, "Oh, I hope this works," even
Yeah.
though we know obviously that it did.
Yeah.
But even so, even though you know that, you're still going to be, "Oh, I hope, oh, come on, boys!"
uh,
So it did do what it was supposed to do. It made you sort of engage you in the action. So for all those reasons, yeah, good cast, entertaining, good story, um, enough tension in it. I would give it a 4.
Give it a 4.